Hello everyone, this is Tuesday's video. I hope that you had a good Monday evening and I hope that you have a blessed Tuesday. So we are in Titus chapter 2. I'm going to do half of the chapter today and I will get right into it. It says, promote right teaching. Chapter 2, verse 1. It says, as for you, Titus, promote the kind of living that reflects wholesome teaching. Teach the older men to exercise self control, to be worthy of respect, and to live wisely. They must have sound faith and be filled with love and patience. So, yesterday we were talking about the qualifications for an elder, and this is continuing on with that and why it is so important to pick the right leaders for a church, because if you don't, it can ruin it from the start. So, when it says promote the right kind of living that reflects wholesome teaching, when we look around today, we can see just horrendous kinds of living and definitely not wholesome teaching. We just see unwholesome teaching permeating our schools, in every facet of life. And it's so disturbing. It feels like an upward battle fighting against it. And that's exactly what we are doing. We need to stand firm and fight against it because we are not battling flesh and blood, people, but powers and principalities, okay? Demons, the demon dark world, okay? So basically, we need to continue to fight the good fight and teach wholesome teachings and wholesome living, because it's so important to teach our children, to teach our grandchildren, to live that way, because people are watching, okay? And it's just so saddening and disturbing to see where our world is going. So let's stand up and be, teachers of righteousness. And then continuing on, it says in verse 3, similarly, teach the older women to live in a way that honors God. They must not be slander others or be heavy drinkers. Instead, they should teach others what is good. These older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children, to do good, and to be submissive. To live wisely. To live wisely and be pure, to work in their homes, to do good, and to be submissive to their husbands. Then they will not bring shame on the word of God. So stopping right there, I'm sure this is, always some section that, women get ticked off about. But let me go through it. It says, so older women who should be wiser, and we're talking about Christian women here. They should be wiser, they should be living godly lives, and they can encourage and model younger women who obviously haven't been Christians as long. Of course, there's older women that can accept Christ in the end of life, but this is particularly talking about women. They're assuming that they've been believers longer and they have more life experience, to live a life that honors God, so that they can teach and model it to young women, because the young women have children at home. They have a husband, they have households that they need to deal with. And primarily, women are left to, even today, dealing with our household, cleaning, cooking, laundry. I know there's sometimes nowadays there's house husbands where maybe the wife is working and the husband is doing it. But in general, it still, pertains to a lot of it is left to the women to do. And these are worthy jobs. So don't look at it like, oh, I'm just a housewife or I'm just a stay-at-home mom. That is a worthy job. It is so important nowadays. Just like I was saying before, how our children are being corrupted, by channels nowadays that are on TV. I mean, a family could say, oh, okay, here, why don't you go watch, this TV show? And I could name several, like Nickelodeon and, I think it was maybe even Sesame Street, that are having things snuck in there to children that are just horrible. Drag queen library shows, things like that, that the parents may not even know. They're sitting their kids in front of the TV maybe while they're doing the dishes, and they are absolutely indoctrinating the children. So basically, you have to watch everything that, is being spoon fed to these kids nowadays in their schools, in other kids' homes, maybe that they're playing with, on the TV. You have to be really diligent. See, my parents did not have to be, because we didn't have anything like that. It was Little House on the Prairie, and pretty much we're all playing outside all the time. So nowadays is a very different landscape. So women, you have a wonderful job at hand, a God-given task that is so important. Teaching your children, taking care of your home, making it a loving, peaceful presence, blessing your husband when he comes home, and he is providing, if you're a stay-at-home mom. And I know there's many moms that have to work today, and you are working even doubly harder. And so I respect you, and I pray that the Lord encourages you. But don't anyone look down on being a mother. It is a very hard job, and we should be open and willing to take advice from other more mature, godly Christian women. So that is the older women's jobs, okay? And then continuing on just a little bit further here, it says, in the same way, encourage the young men to live wisely. And you yourself must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and seriousness of your teaching. Teach the truth so that your teaching can't be criticized. Then those who oppose us will be ashamed and have nothing bad to say about it. So stopping there, and that's what I'm going to end with today. Let me just cover this, okay? So notice it says, in the same way, encourage the young man to live wisely. And that's because they don't have as much experience as the older man. So the older man should also in turn teach the younger men how to live wisely and not foolishly. We see a lot of that nowadays, where young people feel a hopelessness. They don't feel like they have a purpose in life. There's a lot more suicides. And I believe that is in the way that they are addicted to the internet, to their phones, to video games. They don't know how to socialize as much because of the internet. And I see a lot of different things and studies and so forth. And so, older men, it would be great to have you step up and teach the younger men how to be godly young men. My husband does this in his job, and he always has young men. We actually have young men in our neighborhood who are in their 20s that stop by and visit with my husband, and and they're not even believers, and he talks to them, and he gets into conversation, and they're always coming by and asking for advice. And so, it's a great thing. So, I encourage older men to disciple young men. And then right here, when he's talking about, let everything you do reflect the integrity and seriousness of your teaching, because if we don't back up what we're teaching, then it ruins the testimony. And I know that we can all make mistakes. I make mistakes too. And I think, I'm sorry, Lord. I'm sorry for saying that. I'm sorry for thinking that, because I don't want to ruin my testimony either, and then have people look down on the Lord because of what I've done or said, okay? And the reason for that, it says, teach the truth so your teaching can't be criticized, all right? Because if we're teaching wrong things to people, then they can come back and say, oh, well, they taught me this, and it's completely wrong, and then you've just defamed the gospel, the Bible, and Jesus Christ. So making sure what we teach and what comes out of our mouth is true and true to the Bible. And then those who oppose us will be ashamed and have nothing bad to say about us. Because if you're living a life of godliness, what can they say? Oh, okay, well, they can mock us for being godly and, being too pure, but so what? I mean, it's better to be mocked for that than doing bad things, okay, and shaming the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I'm going to stop there today, and I will make Wednesday's video after this and continue and finish off this chapter. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your evening, and God bless.